866-801-8255. I had one of the authors of Inflamed on today, Dr. Rupa Maria, and this book has been transformative in the way that I think about health because it centers the community. There's a portion of, well, throughout the book, it talks about our health, mental and physical, being tied to community. That there were communities, indigenous communities, that didn't have a thing called mental health crises because they were in community with each other. As a practicing psychiatrist, how do you bridge that for your patients? Because I feel a lot of us are suffering in silence. A lot of us reject community because we got it, or we just don't like people because people are complicated. So we
are.
we tend to not be a community. Community is everything, and it doesn't mean you have to be surrounded by people to know that people got you, to know that you are part of something greater than yourself. How do you bridge that with your clients and the people that you teach?
So for my patients, I'm always asking, who do you talk to, or who do you feel safe with? As a lot of times as a psychiatrist, they don't want to talk to you. They're like, I got this. I don't want to talk to you. I don't need you. I don't trust you. I don't want to engage in this talk with you. Like, I got this. So I will always say, well, who can we talk to? Who, do you talk to your mother? No. Do you talk to your siblings? No. And then I just try to go through and then sometimes people don't tell you directly. So I have to say, well, what were you doing before you came in? Who were you talking to? Like, can I call your friend Bobby? Okay. You like Bobby? Can we call Bobby? Can we get Bobby to come in here?
He used it. Do you like Bobby?
Whoever it is, let's reach out to them and try to encourage them, because I am a psychiatrist who does not believe that everyone has to come into the hospital. And I really lean on the community. I lean on their community support workers. I lean on social workers a lot. I got 8 people in the emergency room on Monday, and my answer was, who can come in, who can talk to them? Is there a partner? Who is it that we can work with? Because while we appreciate the support of the community, we also have to educate the family members, right? Because we have them who come in and say like, oh, they don't need this, they don't need to talk about this, especially from sometimes our Black community, across our African diaspora. Like, we don't need this. We'll just go to church. We'll just do this. And I try to encourage them, like, this is what's going to happen. This is what we are expecting. This is what we've seen. I might look young, but don't be fooled. I grew to this. So this is what we expect to see. This is what might happen. This is what might occur. So I want you all to be on board that if there's an issue when you take this person home, you feel like they don't need to come into the hospital, bring them on back. Because when you start to see something like this, we need to all be aware of it. So it's important to do that health education as well.
866-801-8255. If you are listening and you have a family member that is struggling with mental health, Dr. Danielle Hairston is here. I was in community with Dr. Daniel Black, who teaches at Clark Atlanta. He's a world-renowned author. And he said something that some people didn't agree with. They were struggling with it because, he said most of the issues that we deal with in adulthood are directly related to the expectations we have on these people we call parents. And we've talked about this before with you, but he said, because you were thought of before you got here, the parents that you chose to come through, you came through to learn something about your journey here. And so, and parents have to give themselves a break, because it's not your responsibility to be God. Like we deify our parents. So if they make mistakes, then that's it, as opposed to like they're humans as well, going through a human experience, and you'll be okay. Like whatever trauma, even all of the worst things you could think of, all of that has a purpose, and you have to find. Some people were like, no, it's their fault. And they got to own it and apologize. And matter of fact, I played a clip of a woman. Maybe we should, Smith, if you could find that clip that we played on Monday, I want to play it for Dr. Danny, because that I think will center everything that I want you to respond to. 866-801-8255. And Smith, let me know when that clip is ready. But on the surface of what I just described, what percentage of people that come to see you blame their parents for the condition that they're in?
Oh man, what percentage? I'm not sure what percentage blame, but I can say the majority of them, there's some type of connection to their parents. And I think I've told you before, when I was initially in training an intern, I was like, I don't believe all of this. Like, you're 50, you're still talking about, oh, this is what happened when I was a child. Like, I was on, earlier in my career, I was like, okay, you're 52, go ahead. Like, why are you still talking about your parents? But it's not just about what happened there, it's how you learn to cope. And it's how you learn to manage and how you process the trauma. So not necessarily what they did at that time, but how you responded to it. If someone supported you through it, if you went to therapy, if you were then subject to whatever other trauma there was, if you learn that that's how attachment goes, if you learn that's how a relationship goes. So not necessarily what exactly they did, it took me some time to understand not exactly what they did or them passing away when you were younger. And it's the lack of the relationship, it's the response, it's whether or not someone supported you. So it's a little bit more than that. So I don't know. I gotta hear this clip.
Okay.
But
all right, you ready? All right, you ready? Oh, go ahead. Finish.
Is he ready with the clip?
Yeah, he's ready. Are you
okay,
ready?
I'm ready for the clip. Yeah, I'm ready for the clip.
All right. And this is the person that is talking. Her name is Diva Moore. I think she is like a coach and a psychologist. I think she's in that space. All right, play it.
Recently, I was out to lunch with an old friend of mine who has been watching my TikToks and seeing my Facebook. And she said, Diva, you are such a great parent, and it must be so great to have this great relationship with all your children. Lots of greats in there. Story time. That's not true, baby. And let me tell you what I told her. Yes, I have this great relationship with two of my sons. My youngest daughter, my sunshine, is always around. That's who I'm usually talking about in these videos. But I have an oldest son who has chosen to go no contact with me and most of the family. Here's where I differ from a lot of people. I honor his space. I don't try to make up some type of story about how I did the best I could, even though I did. How, he should have been grateful for the life that I worked hard to give him. But see, I'm a recovering alcoholic. And I wasn't recovering when he was in his early teens. I'm not going to feed my ego by saying, I'm your mother. I did the best I could. I was dealing with a lot. Whether or not that's true, I honor his truth. I really do. I love my son. I miss him. However, I won't be changing my number anytime soon, and the code to the front door that he has will never change. He can always get into any home that I live in. But I'm not going to sit here in front of my other kids or in front of you guys and say, oh, he's gone no contact. I don't understand. I understand completely. And I'm quite happy that I raised a grown-ass man who can stand up for his feelings.
Yes. Okay. That part. Dr. Danny. Yes.
So I hope that, I don't know, Miss Diva, but I hope that she also acknowledged this for her son, not just, on her TikTok or her video or whatever it was, because a huge part of, I'm big on intergenerational trauma is the acknowledgement. Like acknowledging that this is something that happened. So don't just acknowledge it. Hopefully she has told him that. And if he chooses not to engage, that's okay, because we don't know anything about what it's like. Well, some of us do know what it's like to have a parent who has a substance use, whether that substance is alcohol or another substance use disorder. So we can't say what it was like for him. So if he chooses to separate himself from that, that's what he needs. And I'm happy that she's saying she's honoring his space and leaving the door open. But I hope that she's also, and I hope that we all acknowledge what is happening. And that's the first step in ending generational trauma, is not acting like this is something that we don't talk about. I don't know if you remember or the audience remembers, like the first time you realized, oh, my parent is not a superhero. Like I remember when I realized, like, really, bro? Like, that's what I was thinking about my dad. Like, that's what you're doing.
That's what we do
Like,
it.
that's who you are out here, out in the streets. But I realized, like, oh, okay, you're a person. And it took me until, unfortunately, after he passed away, to realize and understand that, okay, who he was when he had my brother, who's 17 years older than me, was different than who he had for who he was with my younger sister and I. And to realize that I never had the chance for him to acknowledge that, or for him to even say like, oh, I was different, or I wish I had done things differently. And I think had I had that experience with him, maybe my limited patience for any type of foolishness or not giving people chances or things like that, right, in my future relationships would be different. So acknowledgement is key. And it's something that I find that in the Black community, we have to work on. And it can't be just get over it, but at least, come on, like at least say that this is something that happened and this is something that you wish was different. I'm not a person who subscribes to the well, you need to be grateful that I even brought you into this world and you need to do everything for me. And I'm not a person who subscribes to that notion or that theory, because I didn't ask for you to bring me here. So I think that we have to approach it from acknowledging what happened, and that our parents are people. Yes, they are people. They were whatever age, whatever happened to them, but they have to acknowledge that if they wanted to do some things different, not just that you should be grateful that I'm here or that you're here, but acknowledge like these are the things that happened and I wish they could have gone differently.
What if you have a parent that refuses to acknowledge any wrongdoing on their part or any harm done, and gaslights you? 866-801-8255. I feel her son, because it seems as if whatever he experienced during his childhood made him not want to be in relationship with her. And that's something that I, appreciate that she respects, but she's not changing the lock. She's not punishing him for taking an active role in his own peace. For some of us, the separation is peace. And you find the comfort in community other places. You don't have to be, like you said, you didn't ask to come through the family that you came. Some would argue that you did, that you made a choice in the spirit realm to come in through that. But, in reality, you don't remember that. So it's like, yeah, you didn't ask to be born. Yes, I do not recall being gaining permission to come through this family. And I often say, I had a cousin to tell me, well, blood is thicker than water. You don't call, I'm like, that's just not how that works. Just because we are related doesn't mean I need to talk to you. I'm sorry, ma'am. No, we're not friends. I'm sorry. No, just because we're related does not mean I suspend all reality in terms of what this relationship is. No, that's not happening.